Before she was America's favorite sharp-tongued socialite, before she slipped into pink satin as Rizzo in Grease, and decades before her razor-witted reign on the West Wing, Stockard Channing was living a very different kind of drama, one that played out in private elevators, penthouse drawing rooms, and the powdered silence of Manhattan's Upper East Side. You might say it was the original Gossip Girl, but real and with much better diction. Born with a silver spoon and a Tiffany spoon warmer, Stockard Channing was born Susan Antonia Williams Stockard into Manhattan high society, a world of handwritten thank you notes, monogrammed linens, and ice sculptures that arrived before the guests. Her father, Lester Napier Stockard, was in shipping. Her mother, Mary Alice, was a social lioness with a smile like a switchblade and a Rolodex that could rival Truman Capote's. The Stockards were old money, the kind of family that believed acting was something you did at dinner parties, not as a profession. Susan, as she was then known, spent her early years cloaked in cashmere and privilege, ferried to the Chapin School in a chauffeured limousine, a miniature poodle perched in her lap like a living accessory. Birthday parties featured chamber quartets. Summers were spent not in the Hamptons, tout nouveau riche, whispered Mary Alice, but in Bar Harbor, where real American dynasties went to cool off. By the time she reached Radcliffe, Harvard's sister school, back when girls needed their own Ivy, it was assumed she'd marry well, host even better, and maybe, just maybe, dabble in charity work that looked good in town and country. And for a moment, it seemed like she would. Enter the Harvard husband. Stockard married young, Walter Channing Jr., a Harvard Business School man with a perfect jawline and a family tree that leafed into Mayflower territory. Their wedding was the kind of affair where even the waiters wore cufflinks, and the florist was flown in from Versailles. Well, that's how the story goes. Together, they were picture perfect, bright, rich, well-bred, and destined for dinner-party dominance. But if you looked closely, you might have seen it. A flicker in her eye, that restless spark. Because underneath the cashmere and cocktail dresses, Susan had a secret. She wanted to act, not at fundraisers, not at charity galas, for real, in basements, in black boxes, in rooms that smelled like dust and dreams. You want to be what? When she told her mother she was leaving her husband and her penthouse life to pursue acting, Mary Alice Stockard reportedly clutched her pearls so hard they left imprints. You were born to host galas, not audition for Shakespeare in dirty jeans, her mother sniffed. But Stockard, as she would soon call herself, was done playing by the rules. She walked away from the limousine life, shed the Susan name, and signed up for what her mother derisively called the circus. She did off-Broadway, summer stock, auditions where she waited 3 hours to say one line in a Brooklyn accent. She shared dressing rooms with girls named Pixie and Star. She ate diner eggs and learned how to walk into a room like she owned it, even when she didn't. And slowly, it started to pay off. The rise of a scene stealer. In the early 70s, Stockard started landing television roles. Not flashy ones, secretaries, sidekicks, wisecracking girlfriends. But she brought something electric to every frame. She had the kind of presence you couldn't teach. A cocktail of intelligence, danger, and mischief. Then came Grease, 1978. At 33, she was playing a high school senior, and somehow it worked. Her Rizzo wasn't just the bad girl. She was the real girl. Sarcastic, sharp, wounded, bold. A feminist before the word got cool. Hollywood took notice. She made bold choices. Theater, film, television, indies, politics. In 1993, she starred in 6 Degrees of Separation and earned an Oscar nomination for her haunting portrayal of a Fifth Avenue woman unraveling under the weight of social performance and private betrayal. And here's where the lines between art and life blur. A role that hit too close to home. Those close to Channing have whispered, and were happy to echo it, that her character in 6 Degrees, the elegant, lost, lonely Louisa Kittredge, was unconsciously modeled on her own mother. The clipped diction, the performative grace, the terrifying fear of becoming irrelevant. It was as if Stockard was acting out a conversation with the ghost of her mother, a woman who once dismissed her daughter's passion as an embarrassment to the family. By the time the Oscar nomination came around, mother and daughter were speaking again. Whether it was forgiveness or simply fascination with fame, no one knows. But if there's a lesson in the life of Stockard Channing, it's this. You can be born in a penthouse and still earn your place on the stage. Final curtain. Today, Stockard Channing stands as one of the rare actresses who's done it all. Theater, television, film, without ever becoming a cliché. She didn't chase stardom. She let the work speak. And when it did, it said something real. She left behind the pearls, the poodles, and the penthouse. But in doing so, she became something much harder to find. An icon who actually lived her own script. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more of these fascinating Hollywood stories. We love you. We mean it. Just like in old Hollywood.